Let's take a look at the assignment for round 3P. So one thing I keep saying is that there is far too much overall capacity. Okay, and I say that because I look at this chart up here. Oops, I'll get there. And there's way more blue than there is gold, and the only team really that's using capacity. Oops, and I got to go back. I'm sorry. I'm now in round 2 because I just did that assignment. So I'm going to pause and I'll get. So the only team, that's really using capacity is Team Chester. Okay, and not surprisingly, the computer team, and it's ran away. Okay. One of the reasons it's running away, and it bears repeating, is that there are hidden costs. And they're not so hidden, but they're a little bit tougher to pencil out with having lots of unused capacity. You got buildings sitting around that aren't being used. You still have to heat them. You're still depreciating them. There's interest expense. Even if you don't have loans necessarily on those buildings and you're losing out, that's an opportunity cost. You could be taking the money that you have invested in those plants that's producing nothing then really, or minimal, and you could invest that in some other fashion that would supposedly or hopefully produce more. So excess capacity is a huge deal. So, what's the question then? It was total unit, or I'm sorry, please calculate the total unit capacity for all teams, both shifts. So you just have to take a look. Okay, this is going to give you the capacities right there, and I think I put in the assignment for next round. So use the next round. Okay, but for round 3P, it tells us what our capacity is going to be next round. So that's kind of why I did that. Again, you use the size over here. Don't make any assumptions about maybe one product sliding from one segment to another, and I don't think that's the case here anyhow. Okay, and then I said, what was the total unit demand for? What was the total unit demand? Ooh, there's a typo there. In the size segment for round 3P. Let's go back and change that too. Okay, that's just a simple matter of looking it up. That's given to you. And what I just want to emphasize there is, again, what the total capacity versus demand issue is. Looking at looking at our capstone courier. Okay, question 2. Is Ferris sold an additional $8.75 million in stock? What was the effect on ROE? Picking on Ferris, selling stock all the time. Ferris loves to sell stock for whatever reason. So $8.75 million Ferris sold in stock, and that's going to be there on my cash flow right there. Okay. So what's that mean? Well, the effect of selling stock is this. You're issuing stock. New shareholders then are sending you money, in this case $8.75 million. Okay, so that $8.75 million gets added to what? Well, that's equity. Okay, that's pure and simple. That's equity. So Ferris's equity was increased by $8.75 million. Okay, how did that affect ROE? ROE is return on anything is net income divided by that anything. Okay, so your math should be pretty simple. Okay, ROE is equal to net income divided by equity. And we know what our equity was, okay, 77.56, and that gave us an ROE of, sorry, got to scroll up, but that gave us an ROE of 10.3%. If our equity were smaller, okay, we would expect that our ROE should go up some. Okay, and so that's the result that you should be expecting when you do the math. Okay, what were the causes of Baldwin's massive emergency loan? Hint, look at the cash flow. If you haven't already listened then to the little video that I did for the recap for the round, please go do that, because I talk about Erie's emergency loan and the things that contributed to that. Okay. Man, I got all kinds of typos in here. That's what happens with this cold. So, okay. So I'm not going to talk any more about that. But if you look at the cash flow, those things should be pretty obvious. Okay. And you can just list them. You don't need to explain them or anything like that. You can just list those causes. What was the extraordinary cost of Erie's emergency loan? So by that, I'm looking for the cost over and above the normal interest cost. And a hint here is read your guide. So again, I'm not going to help you a heck of a lot more, but if you pull out the guide and maybe you come to the appendix back here, or the index, I'm sorry, not the appendix, gosh. But you come to the index and you got emergency loans, page 16, and maybe if I go back to there, it might tell me what that extraordinary cost was. And yeah, I would like you to, again, do the math. Okay, so please do the math on that. Don't just do the percentage if that's what it is. Just do the math on it, if you would, please. So that should be it for your assignment for round 3P.